Hello and welcome to my channel. I picked up this 3D printed UFO from Smart Warehouse on eBay. This design was famously used on the X-Files TV series. It featured on the Truth Is Out There poster. It's also allegedly the design which Bob Lazar saw in Area 51. This has been printed with PLA, therefore it's got a lot of layer lines, so I'll give it a good sanding and make all the lines visible. Then using some putty and a wet finger, I fill in all the gaps. Because as we all know, UFOs are supposed to be smooth and not full of grooves. And once that's dried, I use a fine grit sanding stick to smooth it out. Naturally there are areas which are hard to reach, so the next step is to spray on some grey primer, and then wear back on with the sanding. And the idea is that with each pass, the surface gets smoother and smoother. I also use less pressure and a finer grit sanding stick, because applying too much pressure will start to gouge out between the grooves. And once I'm done, I apply a black undercoat, which is standard procedure for anything that's going to be sprayed silver. And this time I gave it a very light sanding, just to take the edge off, and then I can finally spray it silver, and get this looking a little bit more like a flying saucer. The only problem now is that it's a little bit too pristine. If it's been flying about in our atmosphere for a while before being captured, it should look a little rougher. So I wet sand the whole thing with a fine grit paper. This removes a little bit of the sheen and takes it back to the black layer, and then with a fine brush I go ahead and paint all the windows black. The saucer on its own is fairly boring, so I decided to create a display base, and I'm going to create the room that it's stored in Area 51. And please note, if I get any details right, it's purely coincidental. So I set about marking out some huge squares as if the whole place had been constructed quickly. Then I make a cut using the scalpel, and then I widen that cut using the tip of the mini file. This simple process really does add some interest to what would be normally a bland base. Everything is adhered using PVC cement, and I use metal 123 blocks to make sure everything remains in alignment. I could have chosen to enclose the whole area, but I think it works better as a cutaway, because your imagination fills in the gaps of what you can't see. Now it's time to start digging through my box of scraps and making a few bits of equipment to help fill out the space. Starting off with this kind of electrical generator. I drilled several holes in it so these little rods can be inserted. Hopefully they'll look like power cables in the end. As for the box itself, I had some trimming to make it look a little bit more interesting. The rods can be melted into place with a heat gun, and as you can see, I've added an electrical pad at the bottom. Out of all these triangle pieces, I made some mobile stairs. Then I cut out these thin pieces of styrene for the handrails. I also made an industrial crane to fill out the empty space at the back. It's a little bit oversized, but it's there for purely decoration. And then I spray everything white. This is not just as a base colour, I want the whole thing to look clinical, so if anything leaks or spills from the ship, you'll know about it. And naturally I give the edge trimming a coat of black. And then I can put the captured saucer in its place, ready for the scientists to resume their experiments on it. But it is a big secret, so don't tell anyone about it. So with that being said, both the saucer and the display base are complete. Just having the saucer on its own would have been very boring, but at least having the display base helps give you a little bit of a story and add additional level of interest. But the UFO theme does not stop here. I'm already getting to work on the next scene, which features a UFO which landed in a forest. So come back in a few days' time and check out that video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if I can do it, so can you.